It's the next day, and I've got everything cleaned up and prepped, ready to reassemble this thing. One interesting thing that I determined was that these bolts were too long, and I believe that's why it leaked. And I'm glad I took it apart and did a little investigation here. And the reason, what they did was on these couplers, when you run the bolt in, it just goes up against that weld, and that's as far as you can go. I mean, you can tighten it as much as you want, and it's not going to go anywhere. So I took all 10 bolts and shortened each one by 3/8 of an inch. And now the bolt can run all the way in, and it can tighten that plate down. But pretty strange. Okay, let's put that cover back in place. Sorry to stand in front of you there. Now the bolts have anti-seize put on them. And these bolts, I checked, and the torque for these 5/8" bolts is up to 112 foot-pounds. So since there was almost nothing on it to begin with, I'm going to go with 75 foot-pounds. Then I'll let it go through a couple heat cooling cycles and check the torque a couple times just to make sure it's good. I gotta prep a couple more bolts here with anti-seize. And I'm going to torque from the center out, trying to keep any voids from occurring on the inside. And you've heard me say it before, if you watch my other videos, this thing is just it's junk. I mean, more than likely the average Joe Blow just doesn't want to do this, or constantly have to be repairing and fixing and modifying, and it just, for what you're paying, it's just not worth it. Like I said, this shouldn't even be here. And I'll stop the video here in just a minute. And what I'm going to do is just run these bolts in snug with my impact driver, and then use the torque wrench to torque them up. I thought buying American was the way to go, but it wasn't. Okay, I was going to stop this for a minute and just run those in with the impact driver. Alrighty. Let me get my torque wrench and we'll get this finished up. Now what I did to prep the surfaces was I took a random orbit sander with fine sandpaper and I polished all the metal surfaces, then primed them with the Permatex so everything would get sealed properly. And that's squishing that membrane out there real nice. I'm going to let this sit overnight, let it cure up before I put water back in it, and I'll check the torque a couple times. As you can see, as I keep drawing this in, okay. So I'll let that stay just like that overnight, and I'm going to paint it obviously, but there's no sense just in case it leaks. I got to take it apart. That would be a waste of time. So that's it for the moment. Good morning. It is yet another day. The boiler has been reassembled. I let it sit all night. I checked the torque on the bolts several times, brought them all up to 75 foot-pounds. The boiler is pressurized, and we're going to let that sit for a day, and I'll check the torque again. I don't see any leaks, at least so far. The big test will be once I bring it back up to temperature. But hopefully this saga is over. The leaks anyway. Take care.